Everything seemed to be going along just fine in your life. And then the pandemic hit, causing everything to grind to a halt. Your daily routine has been interrupted, causing you to feel restless. You imagined everything going back to the way it was before the pandemic, when you can get back together with your friends who enjoy the same things you do without restrictions. We would have you look at the when question as how. When it does come back, how will it look? It will be so different that you may not even recognize or remember what your old routine was. How did your fun and happiness get tied into a routine of expectations from yourself and others? What type of new routine could you imagine where someone else besides you benefits? However, if you are open to it, you will find your new experiences to be fun and interesting. You will feel fulfilled from these new experiences, and the feelings you get will make you realize exactly why it's important for you to be here at this time in history. You are here to help others and not just be on the receiving end of what they can do for you. This will expose a new side of you that you have not fully seen or experienced before now. Stop asking yourself when it will be over. Start asking yourself, how will you be different when it is over? This really does talk to, and those are just some excerpts from the insight. That's not the whole insight. I never read the whole insight. We just talk about a few little excerpts from it to generate interaction with you, questions you have, comments you have, how you're going to manage to get through this whole thing, and how you're going to rise above it, how you're going to be. Here's the whole point. How are you going to be different from all this? How? Not when it's over, but how you're going to be different as we move through it, because it's not going back to the old normal, you guys. Okay? There's a lot more that you don't know that's coming out, unless you've been diligent about doing your research, taking the time that you have, the precious time you've been given back, this pause, so you could do your research on the internet and see what's really going on and start thinking for yourself instead of just believing what you're told all the time. Okay? And really, from this, you're going to be a better example for everyone in your life, your siblings, your family members, your kids, your friends, everybody. You're gonna start taking action. You're gonna start being more of an active participant in your life, not just following something that everyone else is doing that seems to be okay. It's good enough, you know. And actually, your life before was probably more restless than it is right now, because you were chasing everything, working as hard as you could. It didn't seem to be like it was ever enough. The kids needed more stuff because they were always, pushing you for more, and they have to go to college and they have to, all that's all that's really up for grabs now. Everybody's finally beginning to question the old normal in many, many ways. Going to work, fighting traffic every day, instead working from home, or reinventing yourself and creating your own gig economy. What you've always planned or dreamed about doing. This is your time to figure that out.
I think a lot of people are shocked by just how much fun they're having by missing that
Yeah.
that commute. Okay,
That extra, just that extra hour of sleep.
Here was their restless routine before. They got up, the alarm went off. First of all, they went to bed worrying about what they're going to do the next day for work, and what am I going to wear, and all this stuff. And they'd wake up, then they'd think about all the stuff that was waiting for them when they got to work. Then they'd fall back asleep. And then the alarm would go off around 6 o'clock or so. And they
A
got
rude
up,
awakening.
a rude awakening. They hit the snooze alarm about 5-6 times. And then it's a half hour later, and they finally get up. Now they're in a rush.
Yeah.
And they jump out of the shower. They throw some clothes on. They get a piece of toast or something and coffee and out the door.
That was your old normal.
Well, that was a routine. And then they got stuck in the traffic and the commute, and that added to their stress. And then they finally got to work, and it was just another day.
And that's before you even started getting paid for why you showed up.
That's right. Yeah.
Imagine now you could just roll out of bed. You don't have to go through all those routines. Roll out of bed, work for a couple of hours, and when you're ready for a break, hop in the shower. Okay.
Yeah.
And have your cup of coffee and go about your business. And I mean, this whole thing is so much better than the way you continued to move through your life without thinking about it. Just a knee-jerk response, just more of the same, and caught up in the routine and the rat race. Yeah.
Routine is basically just a series of habits.
Yeah.
Those habits could be good. Those habits could be bad.
Most people that I work with are really glad this happened. I mean, it's not that it's not stressful. They feel the stress because change is stressful, right? Doesn't have to be, though, you guys. But when you add the financial part to it, you feel it, and you're not sure, is your job really going to be sustainable? Is it? Or, this working from home thing, is it going to, are they going to need as many of you as they used to? Stuff like that. You start to wonder, So and if that's not sustainable, then you have the time back to reinvent yourself. What is it you've always wanted to do? Instead of being restless about it, use that to your advantage to point you in a direction. Let guidance come through. Spend a little time writing in your journal, 15 minutes a day. Take 15 minutes out of your day to write in your journal and see what's coming through you, not from you, through you,
maybe
guiding you.
There's all kinds of ways you can change these routines and have a non-restless life. I mean, if you, like you say, you can sleep in a little later because you don't have to get up and fight the traffic. You can work for the couple hours in your sweats or your pajamas.
Yeah.
Before you have a breakfast and jump in the shower. Well, if you always wanted to do something that you used to do, like paint or play a musical instrument, you could do that. You could take lessons.
A real important thing is you'd have time to fit in some exercise, even if it's only for 15 minutes a day. You would have some time back to take care of yourself, self-care, instead of spending that time anticipating, expecting things to go back to the way they were. If you guys are doing that, if that's the way that you're living, you're really missing it. You're setting yourself up for mental stress. Okay. I mean, it doesn't need to happen like that. You don't need to go about it like that. This is your opportunity, your time. In fact, this is the first time in many, 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 maybe any lifetime where humanity has finally had a chance to take a pause. It doesn't matter what the politics are around this, you guys. There's all kinds of bad stuff going on out there. All right. But forget about that. This is not about that out there. It's about this in here. It's about you getting yourself aligned with the new normal, the new abnormal, I'd like to call it, and finding your way in a way that really does fit you, not something where you're being pushed from here to there and you're part of the rat race and, you don't know, you don't seem to have control over your life. You've been given your life back so you can begin to gain control over it. And expectations, if you have expectations about things returning to the way they were, that'll get you in trouble. You have to reinvent yourself. Write down, in fact, before you go to bed at night, tonight, start with tonight. Write down what you're going to do tomorrow. Write down what you're going to do. I'm going to wake up in the morning and I'm not going to take a shower first. I'm going to go to work. And if I don't have a job, I'm going to go to work at finding something for me to do that I want to do that makes me feel good about myself, where I'm not just, it's not just about me. It's about me in this world that I'm in, where what I do does matter and makes a difference. Write down what you intend to do. Make sure you write it down and get to sleep at least by midnight, so you can get up early enough to start working on your plan. Spend 2 or 3 hours a day moving that way. This is you getting your life back. This is different than the life you've been living. So you're not restless anymore. Your old life, you were so restless. You had no control over your life, largely. You were just getting pushed around, driving to work in traffic, putting up with all this aggravation, all right? And as far as your kids go, or your family members or whatever, if they by now don't see that you can't hold up, what they were expecting of you before, then they need to make an adjustment too. They need to make a list of what they're going to do before they go to bed at night, so they can approach the next day differently, without those expectations on you and on themselves.
You make a good point. Like, now you actually have to do something. Before, people were living their life on like autopilot.
Right.
Okay, you're on an airplane, it's on autopilot, but all of a sudden it breaks. Well, now somebody has to do something. Somebody has to actually fly the plane.
Right, Ray.
So that's kind of like an analogy for your life.
You have to go
Can't
back.
live your life on autopilot anymore.
Okay, so what Ray's saying, a very good point. What Ray's saying is you have to go back to a skill.
Right.
Okay. Instead of just going through life like this and just going along, just blindly going through it, just putting up with another day and another day, like Groundhog Day, you guys. You were
Right.
never happy with that. But you've been given your life back, and now you're going, well, what the heck do I do with this? Well, there's a lot. You've got so many choices now. Don't squander your choices. This is great. So what do we have, Ray?
Nothing over here.
Okay.
See people on YouTube, but
Okay.
they're hiding.
They're hiding.
They're hiding back. I said there's like 7 of them there. That
Okay, you guys.
Nancy
You
Schaefer's here.
guys.
Nancy's the only one that was bold enough to let us know.
That's
she's here.
okay. That's okay.
Hi, Nancy.
Everybody handles things in their own way. We don't have a problem with that. But this is really about, your restless life. You had a restless life before this happened.
Right.
And now that you've been given your time back, now you're really restless. What is that about?
Well,
That's about not knowing how to handle the gift you've been given. Okay.
right before you lived your life, like you said, on autopilot, which really was the same routine every day, like Groundhog Day. But what did that do? It stifled your creativity. That's one thing it did.
And everything that you wanted to do, you kept saying to yourself, someday when I have time, someday when I have time,
Oh yeah.
someday this is your day. This is your time. This is your someday. You have time. Now that we have the time, it's kind of weird because, now that it's all been, given back to me. So who's going to show me how to do this? That's why we are here on Tuesdays for you. That's why we do these insights for you guys for free. So you guys have a place to go to examine, to make sense of, and move on guidance. Linda's Weekly Guided Insights, guidance that's speaking to you every week, that's pointing you true north. Linda's Weekly Guided Insights is all about navigating you through the uncertain times that you are now living in. Been doing them since 2014. Most of you weren't here with me and Ray when we started doing these, 6 years ago. But now everything's up in the air and you're beginning to find us. All right. So that's what these insights are about. They're about guiding you through these uncertain times. So you're not floundering. So you're not wasting the opportunity, the gift you've been given. This is a gift. This is nothing to be afraid of. If you're tight on money, if you're tight on money, then it's time to really pull back and thin down your life. I mean, really thin it down so you can breathe again. You can connect with your guidance again. Because if you're in panic mode, if you're fearful, your guides can't reach you.
Yeah, the money issues are really coming to light now without, especially with the stimulus
That's right.
running out last week for a lot of people. I mean, that's,
And so I want to say something about that. That's a good point with that Ray's bringing up. Here's a little insight going forward. I'm going to give it to you right now. You've been sheltered in place, okay, since this all went down. Some of you guys are going out a little bit more, feeling a little bit more comfortable going out, only to find that there's riots and there's more crime and carjackings are up. How much, Ray?
well, I think it was like 600% for violent crimes in Minneapolis ever since they said we don't need the police anymore. Two of the precincts are, I think, closed down, and they sent out a letter to all the residents in that precinct that basically you're on your own. You have to learn how to defend yourself. You can't.
And that's just Minneapolis, but
Right.
we're talking about Washington State. We're talking about all kinds
Portland.
of places, little hotspots around the country. Something like the hotspots are around the country with the coronavirus.
Right.
Hotspots. Okay. Now the hotspots aren't just about the virus. Now they're about your safety. Okay.
Right.
And so now that the unemployment benefits have ceased and people can't pay their rent and they can't, there's a lot of things they can't do. What do you think is going to happen in the outer world? Okay. That's going to make it a lot more uncomfortable and safe for you to go out. It's not just the pandemic that caused you to shelter in place. Now it's your safety that causes you to be okay with this, for this to be something that you choose, not something that's a mandate that's imposed upon you. Okay. Now this is a whole new thing going on, right? So this is not about you being restless. The world is restless enough out there, okay? This is about you not being restless. Restless would be anticipating the old normal coming back. You guys, it's not coming back, okay? It would be expecting things to be somewhat like they used to be. Well, they're not. So how do you fit? Where is your place in this new abnormal, the one that we're in now, the one that you have to do your research. I'm telling you, do your research. And when we talk, when we're here on these live events with you, it won't be so quiet. You will be more open. You will be able to talk about these things more because you've done your research. You've got something to ask about, something to talk about, something to speak with your guides about. I don't see questions coming out.
No.
And I'm asking myself, why is that? Why aren't you asking questions? This is the time for you to be asking questions, not just here, but asking questions about your life, about why this is happening for you. I didn't say to you, I said for you. Okay, because the life you were living before, I'm going to say it was shallow. It was self-serving. It was empty. It was without purpose. It was blah, 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 blah. All right. It was Groundhog Day. Really.
It was.
Yeah. So let's let the guides talk to them about this. I can talk to you all day long. You guys need to interact more. You need to not be afraid to do that. If you're afraid, you need to look at that. You need to do your research so you're not afraid. All right, here they go.
People always complain about not being able to balance work with play or their relationships because of the routine they were stuck in, a series of habits that grew over time to become an existence that made you restless. They had a release valve once a year on New Year's Eve when they told themselves that it would be different in the new year. But by a month into the new year, everybody was back into their old routine, the one that made them so restless. It looks to us like the challenge is to look for ways to break your routines.
Right. You believe it or not, your routines have already been broken. They
You're
they they were
forced.
they were forced on you. You know, I've always had a saying, you guys, where you're going to have to change. Okay. You're either going to wait to get pushed through the door, or you're going to willingly walk through it. This 2020 was a push. This is a push. And I want you to know it's just the beginning of the push. This is going to be wave after wave after wave of one thing after the other, of politicians blaming this person and this, the Democrats and the Republicans blaming each other, and you know, and everyone blaming each other as it gets, as you get pushed around, if you let it. But you don't need to let it. Once you do your research, besides the fact that when you first start doing it, you'll probably be angry. What you're going to see is going to really make you mad. This is my journal. Write it down. Write it down. My journal writing. Okay. This is one part of the guided journal writing system. Guided is recommended reading. It's how I did it. It's how I've seen what's coming, that the world that we're in now, and we're going to be coming into. Since I was a baby, I saw it coming, you guys. Okay. I'm here to guide you. I'm the guide for you. I'm the guide for the guides. They called me their, what is it called? Their, not their representative, but their,
The ambassador.
yeah, their ambassador. That's what they called me. And that this is my work. This is, yeah. And I've had some people tell me that this is my,
Your ministry.
my ministry. Right. Right. Everybody has a different perception of it, but this is why I'm here. This is my reason for being here. Okay. So you've got a reason for being here. What this time has done is it's brought that out big time. Why each one of us is here. And if you are still here, then there's a reason for you to be here. And there's a part that you're supposed to be playing. That's what you need to figure out. Do your research, let yourself get mad, let yourself see this stuff and go, dag nabbit, I wish I saw this when I had my head buried, when all I could do was work, and I couldn't see anything. I couldn't lift my chin because I had the bills to pay, the kids, okay, now you've got a chance to decompress and look at what's going on and make your choice. Okay, this is something that's going to touch your heart. This is something where you make a difference. This is something that lets you be more than you've been until now. That's what this something is. Okay? This didn't happen to you. This happened for you. And it's about time.
Yeah, everything's, oh, people say, oh, everything's breaking down. Just look at the news, everything's breaking down. Well,
Good. It's finally time.
yeah, it was kind of like
in-
it was planned to do that.
Guided. I'm going to find that one part, and then we're going to close. It's meant to do that, you guys. It was never meant to work. Okay. This part of guided, I'm reading from the very back of it. This is the afterword. Now that you have read this book and understand this valuable relationship I'm talking about with your guides, you are well on your way to establishing a lifelong connection with your own spirit guide angels to navigate you through these difficult times ahead. Now, I published this in 2014. Your guides are best qualified to walk you through your shift. They have no agenda. They are your biggest fans, your real life coaches. This is why it's perfect timing for this new book, for this book to be written for you, for all of us. It's important to know that you do still have someone you can trust and depend on, your guides. The truth and love are both painstakingly real. You must be 100% present to fully experience them. There can be no distractions, no manipulations or strategies to outsmart them, no pretending or cheating. You must be fearless. You must be you, pure and simple. Not too many people are willing to do this because to them, it feels too risky. Only if you have a relationship with those who walk with you, your guides, your life coaches, as they navigate you through this life, will you have the checks and balances necessary to keep you on course. But you have to be open to this relationship and be willing to act on their guidance and on time while it's still valid. No one knows you better than your guides, nor does anyone here in this life know what to do, especially now. That's just a little piece of guided, okay? Published this 6 years ago, okay? This is filled with prophetic insights about what we're going through now and why we're going through them. This is part 1 of the guided journal writing system. My guided journey, 18 chapters in part 2, about finding out where things went off course for you in your past, is part 2 of the guided journal writing system. And my journal writing, this is where you write in your journal every day for 15 minutes a day to stay conscious, to become conscious, is the 3rd part of the guided journal writing system. You guys need to look into this. You can find it on my website. You can go to Amazon, and look for Linda Deer. You'll find all these books. But you guys need to start to move in a direction that's positive, move into a direction that's enlightening, okay, where you can actually perform on it, where you can actually step in to your new abnormal. You guys have been given your life back. If only you see this, if only you act on it, okay? Start writing in your journal. That's how you're going to see the proof of how you're doing, how you're doing, where you're messing up, and how you're doing, and how you're doing, and how you're doing, and where you messed up a little bit again. So you can't fix it if you can't see it. You got to get it out of here and put it on the pages so you can see it. All right. It's called accountability. accountability to yourself from yourself. You don't need to go to see a shrink. You don't need to go see somebody that's going to tell you what to do. They don't know you, but you do. You're going to find out who that is. All right. Okay, so we don't have any questions or comments from you guys today. It's kind of odd, when we do these,
Everybody is
where, Ray?
out voting.
Voting, yes.
Ooh.
Okay. Well, we're on your side there, you guys. We know that you care. All right. Okay, so before we close the session tonight, the guide's closing message to all of you, I'm going to present a few announcements tonight. Join me August 11th, my birthday. Okay,
Ooh.
August 11th. I will be streaming live on my Facebook page, my Facebook timeline, and my YouTube channel. Use the search term Linda Deer. This will be a Q&A and commentary for next Tuesday night, published in Linda's weekly Guided Insights with me, Ray, and my spirit guides at 6 p.m. Pacific time. In Linda's weekly Guided Insights, my spirit guides will be talking about it's fear that's putting you at the greatest risk. One of the first things we showed Linda as a baby was the biggest tragedy of your times is that most people will die having lived fear-based lives. While you may be thinking that you are not living a fear-based life, you fail to see the fear in things going on all around you. When we say, don't believe everything you hear or read, we are not exaggerating. That's the guides talking. Unless you can do your own research, and of course you can, will you be able to survive what's coming? You guys, this is not funny. While you get your life back, you're also going to position yourself so you're not a part of it. Okay, so you're focused on the right things, helping people, helping yourself, and not a party to the chaos. All right. Start getting Linda's weekly guided insights delivered to your email box each Tuesday. Sign up. It's free. Look for the link in the description of this video. Training with Linda, one-on-one training with Linda Deer and her guided journal writing system that I just explained to you. Look for the link in the description of the video. Go check it out, you guys. In other words, if you guys need help with this, walking through this you need me to hold your hand and work with you one-on-one, that's what I'm offering you. Get the replay of our webinar from July 25th entitled, A Message from the Light Beings, preparing you for your new experiences with Linda Deer, Ray Holly, and the Light Beings. The Light Beings described what it will be like when you are released into this newly reopened world. Look for the link to this webinar in the description of this video. And this Thursday, August 6th at 6 p.m. Pacific time, join us on our Facebook private group, Ask the Universal Channel. The teachers of Ask the Universal Channel will be performing the following. Kathy's spirit guides would like to talk about how everything has consciousness. Joy's spirit guides would like to talk about when and why we should ask them about other people. That's interesting. This event will be hosted by Linda Deer and Ray Holly. Look for the instructions on how to join this private Facebook group in the description of this video. And last but not least, before we close, if my work helps you in any way, share it with your friends about these Tuesday insights, readings from my books that I do on Saturdays, learning to channel your own guidance in Ask the Universal Channel Facebook group, our monthly webinars the last Saturday of each month, and my one-on-one coaching and training. Okay, you guys.
Oh, you're really busy.
I'm telling you, when I've been guided to do this work, and I'm on it. And Ray helps me with this. Ray's got, his business he runs. Thank you, Ray. Thank you, Ray. But it's it's a it comes from love, you guys. It comes from the guidance. It comes from when I wake up in the morning, and it's there. The guidance is there, moving me along. Stay on the path, Linda. Stay on the path, Linda. Stay on the path, Linda. And that's what I do. And I do it for you guys. Okay. I'm the guide for the guides.
Right.
Okay. They're going to close the session tonight, exposing your restless life. And here they go.
If you want to avoid living a restless life, stop living your life by your to-do list. It's that to-do list that kept you away from all the new things you could have experienced. But you got stuck in an endless parade of expectations. Get another list. Instead of a to-do list, make yourself a to-be list. On this to-be list, write one thing down every day, one new thing you haven't done before, and do this each day. One new thing each day goes on the list. Now look for the value in these new things you are doing. They won't look like the old habits you followed every day of your life. It's a way that you will build new and exciting routines that you look forward to rather than dread.
Now that is a huge change all by itself. A to-be list, a to-be list, not a to-do list. What do we have, Ray?
Sayonara. Some people let us know that they're sorry they were late.
That's okay.
It's okay.
That's
why we have the replays.
Yeah, you can watch the replays on these. That's why we do these, so you can rewatch them. All right. So this is about you guys being more, having the opportunity to be more than you could have been had you just kept grinding away at the old normal, just the same thing, Groundhog Day, the same stuff every day. What's expected of you as you drag yourself through another day of it. I'm going to share this one thing with you before we close tonight. I used to be an architect, a home builder. I used to be an architect. 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 I used to be an archit a real estate broker. You know, I was very successful at all that. But I'll tell you why I stopped doing it. I actually gave up my license. It's been about 4 years now. I stopped doing any of that. It's been about 10 years now since I stopped.
But you had a license for 45 years.
Yeah, I was in it my whole life. And you know why I stopped doing it? I stopped doing it because of the way people treated each other. I stopped doing it because every time I turned around, somebody was threatening to sue me. I stopped doing it because if I didn't do what they were requesting of me, you know, I'm building their house and no, I want another type of carpet. Well, it's going to cost you more money. Well, it's not going to cost me more money, Linda, because if you don't do it, da 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 da, some kind of threat. You left something out of the contract that left a little opening there for them to go in there and take advantage of me. You know, to you just yeah, just to drive it in. Okay, you know, I got tired of it, and yeah, I could have kept doing it, and I was making money at it, but it burned me out. I don't want to live in a world like that. I don't. I talked about that in Guided. I just won't live in a world like that. So I created my own world. I created the project. I created the service I provide for people, the coaching, the training, teaching them how to do this, the tools to do it with, the books I have, you know, that help them make the changes in their own life, help them be brave and step out of that old, horrible world that has been created. You guys have to admit, the world has just gone crazy. Everybody, nobody, you know, people just, the humanity's gone. I got to tell you, it's gone. What happened? Why don't people care about each other anymore? Why don't they have time for each other anymore? What happened to the humanity? What happened to the fairness in this world? The greed got carried away. All right. So I had to walk away from it, you guys. All right. And I had to go a different route. I had to do something that made a difference. I had to do something that that didn't add to the problem, but something that made a difference, that that wasn't adding to it. That was a solution, another way. Okay. That's what I'm doing. That's why I'm doing this work. Okay. So I could have kept making a lot of money. I've always made a lot of money in my life, but I couldn't stand it anymore. I couldn't stand how people treated each other anymore. Okay. I just couldn't take it anymore. And that's been over 10 years ago that I pulled out of this. You guys just recently got pushed out of this year. So that's what I'm about. You guys, we'll see you Thursday. Join Ask the Universal channel if you want to learn how to do this. We'll see you Saturday if you want to step in and listen to me read chapter 15 of Guided. We'll see you next Tuesday, my birthday, for our next insight.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.